Okay, so I figured it was time to make some videos more or less about fixing issues that I've run across that you might run across yourselves. What we have here is a 2014 Jeep Sahara. I don't even remember what size tires it had. Big tires, I think 38s, 456 gears or whatever, maybe possibly larger or smaller, I guess, in theory, depending on how you want to look at it. And it came with a RIP supercharger on it, if that's how you pronounce it, I don't know, and their tuning is not very good at all, to be completely honest. And one of the issues the customer was having was not only did the vehicle have a complete lack of horsepower, which, I mean, it is a Jeep, so that is fair to say to begin with, but it had shifting issues where it wanted to go to wide open throttle to shift, I believe, from third to fourth every time. Just obnoxious. So what we have here is we have the stock file, or the file we pulled off of it with our file behind it. You can see here that we changed a little bit of the information here. Nothing crazy, but what we did was, as we were trying to figure out what was going on, we were modifying these tables here, adjusting them up and down, like what the hell, why is this not shifting properly, trying to see if the issue was possibly in here. Now what you can see here is on the 3 to 4 shift, you can see that we actually have the RPM significantly lower here, so that way the drivability is a lot better. Between the gears and the tires, it took a lot of work to get it to drive properly, which obviously this is where it comes in handy to have a vehicle in front of you instead of trying to do it remotely, which, you know, we can do this stuff remotely. It just becomes very difficult. Now, the issue itself, so the vehicle will not shift from third to fourth unless you let it go to wide open throttle. That is the only way for it to happen. You can see here, nothing has changed here. It is right here. So here's the stock file. Here is the numbers that it took to get it to shift. The upshift ramp torque, we actually had to raise it for it to shift. And I don't want to use the wrong words here, but basically it was like the truck wasn't seeing enough torque to shift, so it kept sending the RPMs higher in order to get it to shift. But not exactly sure offhand, and that's why I don't want to say exactly for sure what's happening. But I do know if you install big wheels and tires and all of a sudden, no matter what you do, you can't get to shift, this right here is where the main issue is on your upshift ramp torque tables. If you can't get it to shift, you absolutely need to add more here until it shifts, and I think I only added 5 or 10%, and that's all it took. So I just felt like that I would just share that with everybody, and just kind of so that everybody could kind of see what we ran into and how we fixed it. You know, some of the other things, let's take a look here. Wide open throttle timing. This is the RIP supercharger wide open throttle timing table. It is absolutely awful. To be honest, it kind of looks like they just left it stock. This is the table that we used. And as you can see, we did pull timing up here in the top area, which is pretty common sense, I would imagine. I don't think I need to explain that, to be honest. The red areas is where the stock file was higher. The blue areas is where our file was higher. So you can kind of see what changes were made here versus the RIP supercharger. Now, I know the customer is extremely happy with this vehicle. We actually had to desensitize it after we tuned it because it was so sensitive that they were essentially just burning the tires all the time. So, you know, and the sensitivity, for anyone who's watching any of our other videos, comes from typically the electronic throttle, which you can see here is stock, because we took all the sensitivity back out of it. I think the guy's wife was driving it, and then just they couldn't handle it. It was absolutely super sensitive. So for those of you who have not watched it, if you want to make your vehicle throttle literally as sensitive as possible, you you do this. That is the maximum voltage of throttle pedal, I believe. If I remember correctly, on most Dodge vehicles is 3.8. So you set that there, and it basically limits your pedal to 3.8 volts, meaning at 600 RPMs, you can go wide open throttle. Here you cannot. At 640 RPMs, you can only go near throttle a third of the way. Let's see if they got any other information around here on there. So some of this stuff you can see is awful. I mean, look, wide open throttle pedal 2.3, 5600 RPM delay for, hold on a second, 5600 delay, RPM delay for power enrichment, and almost zero enrichment. We click here, 2.7 for wide open throttle, 0 RPM, 0 delay, full enrichment. Left the cutoff the same. MDS is disabled. We left some of the torque management stuff alone. You can see we made the pedal wide open throttle match where it should be. This video wasn't really meant to show you all the problems that we found with this tune that was on the vehicle. It was essentially more or less to show you what you could do if you run across the exact same issue on a vehicle that you're tuning, a Mopar to be exact. So we haven't really got into any transmission tuning issues with GM in order to share information. So hopefully in the future we will run into some of those issues and be able to post videos explaining people what they can do to fix those issues. So